Okay, so let's move on to the 8th World Championship match between Lasker and Tarrasch. Bit of background here. I mean, Tarrasch was sort of identified himself as the continuation of the Steinitz tradition, not friendly at all with Lasker. And then it's probably a bit too late for Tarrasch. 1908, they finally arranged a match, whereas maybe 5 or 10 years earlier they would have been better matched. And what we're going to look at is 4 of these games, 4, 6, 14 and 16. And you can see, if you look at the chart on the top right there, that Lasker's in red and Tarrasch is in blue. First to 8 would win, so Lasker won the match after 16 games. And you can see that he was basically ahead the whole time. Now, you can see Tarrasch looked like he made more blunders over the sort of the match, so a little bit of impact there, but you'd have to say that Lasker was, at this stage in 1908, definitely the stronger player. So let's move straight away to game 4. I've moved to the key position there, and you can see the bottom right chart, sorry. Tarrasch is, he makes his move, his blunder on move 20, which we're about to get to. And so the game was stable until then, and then basically lost 300-400 points in that, and then drifted off to a loss. So you could definitely say that this blunder cost Tarrasch this game. However, it's quite a deep refutation, and in fact, as far as his book on this game, he gives Lasker's refutation a double exclam. So, okay, here we have the position. Tarrasch's knight has been kicked, and Lasker takes the b pawn, and then now Tarrasch takes the d6 pawn. There's a tactic here. What's Tarrasch's justification for capturing the pawn? Since, as you can see, there is only one piece protecting it. 2 pieces attacking the rook, so it doesn't look like it's protected enough. But look for the tactic which Tarrasch was looking at, and then look at the refutation of that move. Okay, pause the video. Okay, so continuation is fairly straightforward here. Lasker takes the rook back, and then Tarrasch's idea is this move. Simply forking the rook and the queen. So, what is going on here? If the queen or the rook moves, most likely the queen moves, the rook gets taken, and you can see the position is fairly balanced, right? So this is where we have what Kasparov rated as a double exclam move. Rook takes f4. It's a great move. So now what's going on? You still have that pawn attacking that and that. The rook and the queen. That pawn is attacking that rook. But the rook is obviously, there we go, rook's attacking the queen. Right, so what to do here? I mean, black's a rook up. So black can afford to lose a rook and come back even. So, I mean, obviously, there's a few continuations you consider here. What Tarrasch did is he took the rook back with the pawn. So maybe took back. And now the key is this gives black a check here. Now this does 2 things. Checks the king, opens up this diagonal for the queen, and there are 2 lines here. They're kind of equally bad. Tarrasch moved in the corner. Could have moved to f2 instead. Did you see what happens here? The rook comes down. You can block the rook. Take. And the idea is, although material is still fairly balanced in this position, continue a couple more moves. basically the exposed black king actually makes this position +4. Right, queen has to move. Let's just continue in some fairly, you know, maybe queen there, and just see what happens. Check there, supported by the queen. The king moves somewhere. Take a pawn, and you can see that, you know, what might we do here? Queen e2, maybe, yeah. Queen g5 check. King d4. Just following computer lines here. Queen f4 check. King d5. Queen takes b4. Let's get back to the game continuation. So we were here. We just considered king go to f2. King go to h1 is what is played. And you can see how exposed the black king is going to be on the back rank. So I said queen b1 check. King must move up. Rook d2 check. Block with the rook. Take the a pawn. Exchange rooks. Now it's clear if queens go off, then those black pawns are going to win, which I guess is part of the whole problem here, right? So I think in conclusion of this game, you can see Lasker showed a great understanding of the refutation, and then knowing that this exposed king position was totally winning for black. Quickly switch across to the blunder spreadsheet. What we're going to do here, because it's a picture of Tarrasch, we've added him in. We'll just copy his picture, and I'm going to do this 2 stars because I just think that, you know, it wasn't such a bad move. It was just very well refuted by Lasker. Okay, cool. Okay, I've loaded up game 6. This is the critical position. Once again, this is not really, I'm not going to say it as a tactical puzzle. This is just a sort of an error in the endgame, which we've seen quite a few of those already. If you look at the chart on the bottom right, it shows what's going on in this game. Tarrasch has been developing quite a big advantage, and basically a winning advantage over the last 10 or so moves, and then on this move, 45, he blunders all of his advantage away, and the game ends up a draw. So let's have a look what's going on here. He played in the game bishop takes c4, which first of all unleashed gave this pawn a chance to make a bit of a runner and provide counterplay, and lost a tempo or two, right? So first of all, I'll go over the line which Tarrasch should have played. He should have simply pushed his pawn e6, right? It's caused a lot of problems for black in trying to stop it. I mean, check the king into it. So it's a kind of a better position, but there's little else to choose, right? The pawn's very close to being pushed, so now black has to take the bishop. Two issues with this. Obviously, drawing the king back, so it can't help advance the pawn. But obviously, the black pawn on b5 is not a passed pawn. It's not a counterplay threat. So just a typical play. Anything can happen here, but basically, this position is totally winning for white because of the advanced and threatening position of this pawn. So white can go back and threaten to take the b pawn. I mean, there are various continuations here. I mean, black has lost his pawn, now he's 2-1. It can do very little to protect that, because if black did go back to protect it, well then obviously this king can move around, and the pawn would advance, right? Just curtains. So lost the second pawn. And you can see this position we end up with, that even if white lost the pawn on b5, this is a winning rook and pawn endgame, because the black king is in this great position. Black rook is in this great position, cutting the black king off. So that is the continuation which Tarrasch should have played. What he did, he took the bishop, gave black extra tempos and an advanced pawn. So okay, white still has his threatening e6 pawn, but there's a threatening b3 pawn. So this forces the white king to need to come back. Okay, the black king attacks. At least that pawn holds the white rook for a moment. Check by black, and now this is the problem. Now this pawn's running, so that's going to cause enough distraction. Okay, white's won back the c pawn, but now white's going to have to surrender the e pawn to pick up the h-pawn, and this is actually, it's almost already set up as a field toss position, so they agree to draw here. So I think you can say that Tarrasch would be pretty disappointed. He's given up 2 half points, so if we go back to the Excel sheet, copy, this is probably, once again, I'll just give this 2 stars, because it's just like, sort of lost half a point, just a sort of a technical error in the end game. Could well have given that 3 stars, but we'll just leave that is for now. Okay, so now we are going to move on to game 14. Move it across. Okay, so this is actually another game mentioned in Kasparov's book. There's a couple of blunders here, right? Rook f7 is a blunder, and then g takes f6 is a blunder, and that's the one which Kasparov mentions. The continuation given by the engine is as follows. White should play f takes g6, 2 lines here. If does not take, if black does not take, then this does not look nice. Rook takes g6 check, king f4 attacking the bishop. If black tries to hold on to the bishop, then this is just winning. The king and the bishop are pushing the pawn through, and the bishop's also holding this pawn, so the rook will sacrifice itself for the pawn, and then white will be winning. Go back to this point. Another possible continuation is we have bishop takes, or bishop takes, yeah? And let's see what happens here. That the pawn will take. Oh, it looks okay, doesn't it? Right, but then the problem is now rook g7, c7 check, king gets forced back. Rook's holding the bishop, threatening a check on f4, so bishop to try and hold that position. Bishop f4 check, king moves, rook c7 check. Obviously that's going to be curtains with a discovered check, and if the king moves away, a variation, then I believe it's just, yeah, it's this pin, and it's curtains. So give you an idea of what should have happened. So you go back to this position, rook f7 was technically a bit of a blunder. This was a mistake. The continuation is now totally even, right? Just completely miscalculated what was going on. I think Tarrasch made the comment that he won the bishop, but he didn't win the game, right? As you can see, worst case scenario, rook and bishop versus rook, which is, you know, technical draw, can be tough. And they played on for a while, and they finally agreed to draw, just scrolling down here after 119 moves. So that's the second game we've had a look at. Once again, technical one. 30, I'm sorry. Now, let us look at the last game I want to look at, which is game 16, which is actually the last game of the match. So, wait a minute, we'll go back to our Excel spreadsheet briefly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Tarrasch and we'll put him up here. We'll give him one of these 3-star arrows. It's fair enough. Either that or the previous one can be ranked as that. Okay. Now you can see, looking at the bottom right chart, that actually there's actually Lasker made an error earlier. I'd moved 17. Where he was kind of beating Tarrasch anyway, and then he let him get back into the game. I'm not going to look at that one. I'm going to look at the error on move 24, which is pretty catastrophic actually. It was just like game over after this move. Right, so let's have a look into position here. Let me just go back one move. Black, Lasker just played rook f2. That looks pretty nasty. Cutting off the black king, taking over the 7th rank. 7th rank. Cutting off the king. Now, yeah, and there's obviously, because of that, there's back rank threats. So, without giving too much away, Tarrasch then played knight d4. So have a quick look at the tactics behind that move. After Black's next move, White resigned. If you had a quick look at it, you'll see what's wrong with this move. Black played bishop takes d4. Back to thing. Covered. Would be bad if the back rank was not covered. Obviously back rank mate is threatened here, so obviously what Tarrasch was thinking, it's going the wrong way, is that his rook was protecting the knight, but obviously he can't move the rook because there'll be back rank mate. That was pretty bad. Just a one move blunder. Game's gone, completely thrown away, and actually it was the last game of the match. That was the end of the game. That was a match. That was the 8th game, which Lasker had won. Okay, so yep, that was quite a neat little tactic. So should have obviously been seen at this standard. So I say Tarrasch was probably getting on a bit for playing the World Championship match. So this one, I think that one is pretty shocking. So as we go to the XL, we might just give him one of 4-star ones, right? Don't have enough 4-star ones. So I think one thing we can say about that match in general was that it was Lasker was clearly better, and Lasker made less damaging blunders as well as outplaying Tarrasch generally. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.